Welcome to the Injury Law Pod, the podcast that explores and demystifies the complex world of personal injury law. Each week, Missouri personal injury attorney Eric Bartlett dives into the legal issues surrounding personal injury cases to help you understand your rights and options when seeking justice and compensation for personal injuries. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the world of personal injury law together.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Injury Law Pod. I am your host, Eric Bartlett, a 28-year personal injury lawyer, and this is the podcast where we talk all things personal injury law related. And today I have with me a special guest, somebody that we have been supporting over the last couple of years. And it's Crystal Tanner with the Finish Strong Foundation. And Crystal has a really kind of interesting, kind of tragic story, and but it's amazing what she has done coming out of that. And so today I welcome Crystal, and we're going to talk a little bit about her story and about what the Finish Strong Foundation does. So with that, welcome, Crystal.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us here.
Absolutely. And so, Crystal, why don't you just start by talking about the events that sort of led up to you creating this foundation?
Sure. So back in 2013, my late husband was in the JJ's explosion on the plaza, which a lot of people know about that. He was badly injured, burned in that explosion, spent two full months in the burn unit, another month in recovery in the inpatient burn or rehab at KU Medical Center. And then another 6 months or so after that, him learning how to re-walk and try to figure out how to get use of his arm and things like that. So it was a big life change for our family. Things happened so fast, and that's kind of where it all started.
And just, like you said, most people in Kansas City knew about that, but the JJ's restaurant, which was, is it back? Is there still a JJ's restaurant?
They moved locations. Yes.
Okay. But at the time it was on the plaza, and it was a well-known restaurant, and there was a gas explosion, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. My husband was working. He was a construction manager, so he actually was not on site at that time. His guys called him, said, "Hey, I hit a gas line." Without having to go into detail, he came down there. He was only there for about 12 minutes to check out everything, make sure his guys were following protocol and making sure that he was checking everything out, making sure everybody was safe, making sure that the gas company had taken control. And then he was there with the gas guy, and boom. So.
And that resulted in obviously multiple people injured.
Yes.
Did anybody die?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
A young lady who was working at the restaurant actually died.
That's right. So yeah, so it was a major event, a really terrible situation.
Yeah.
And obviously your husband was one of the people that was involved.
Yes.
And so, yes, take it from where you were. He was in rehab and.
Yeah. So we got through all the rehab things. We kind of got to what was just going to be final. I mean, he was in pain every day, and he was very emotional. He struggled emotionally all the time. He had very little use of his left arm, lots of back injuries, but he lived every day to the fullest because he knew how fast it could end. He was a very supportive father and was very involved with my kids' sports and with his own sports team. He had a racing team. So we kept ourselves busy as possible with his off days. We went in for a final surgery, which was like maybe his 50th surgery or procedure. A lot of them having to do with burns, some of them having to do with his arm, some of them having to do with his back. But this one in particular was a hernia surgery. And he went in for the hernia surgery. Everything went good. And then just little mistakes that were made, and he did not survive the next night. He had a pulmonary event where they accidentally forgot to put the oxygen on him at night, his CPAP machine he needed, especially after that many pain pills and anesthesia, and he had Xanax and things like that. So unfortunately, we lost him, but
And what year was that?
That was 2018. So that was 5 years after his accident. We always say, like, we kind of think sometimes God has a plan. He was very in pain and he was unhappy a lot. And even though there were mistakes made that led to his death, he was miserable. And his life was not the way he wanted it. So with that, since he was so involved in his kids' sports and helping other kids get involved with sports because he knew how important that was, we decided to start the Finish Strong Foundation in memory of him. And
when did you do that?
2018, right after he died. We wanted to make sure that nobody felt like the need to, provide anything for our family in particular, but we wanted, if somebody wanted to contribute because of his death, he was very important in the community of racing and sports and things like that. So we wanted people to be able to give as they wanted to, but to put it towards something that was going to be beneficial to society.
And so talk about exactly what the Finish Strong Foundation does.
Sure. So we are a nonprofit organization that provides competitive athletes support when their families are struggling financially due to illness, injury, death, or other unexpected traumatic events. We basically want kids, we know that for our own kids, when things happened with Mike in that explosion after that accident, and things were very financially unsettled. We were struggling financially and we wanted the best for our kids. And the only thing that was really created some normalcy for our children was to keep them in their sports with their coaches, with their mentors, with their friends, and keep them doing what they love and that they work so hard for. My kids were in gymnastics, they were in volleyball, they were in softball, they were in baseball, they were in wrestling. So we just knew that
I was gonna, and if I can interrupt, I was gonna ask you, how old were your kids when this was going on?
Oh gosh. Okay, so 2013. So my son, I believe he was 15, 14, something like that. And then my daughter was like 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of right in the middle of when kids are doing all kinds of things.
Yes, it was a crazy, my son had actually just won the state wrestling tournament for Missouri for Staley High School, and he had earned his spot to Fargo to go to nationals, and we didn't have the money for it. So we had to reach out to people, and ask for support. And, as much as somebody hates in that position, that when you're used to being able to provide for yourself and your family and you don't need any help, and then all of a sudden you are in a position of needing help, I think it's okay, to ask for that help. And that's kind of where we want the foundation to be, is somewhere where people feel comfortable because we've been there. We know what that's about, that it's okay to ask for help. And that way, because we know as parents that we know that you're wanting just to have that normalcy for your kids.
Sure. And obviously when there's a major event like that, and again, younger kids, obviously, we don't always think about them. I mean, we're thinking about the person that's injured and what they're going through, and the spouse who is obviously probably a caretaker and worried about the same things that the injured person's worried about. How are we going to make ends meet? And, how does this all look? But then meanwhile, yes, you have these kids who are trying to be kids. and do their thing, and meanwhile, if there's a disruption there,
Yeah.
it's a big deal to them.
Yeah, it was a big deal to my kids, just they were so used to it. We go, 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 go. And, Mike and I would just, take turns and make sure that we had everybody covered. And at least I was at a softball tournament while he was at a wrestling tournament, or vice versa, or we would both try to make it to both. And sometimes on weekends it got crazy, but that was just our life, and we love it. And that is, a lot of people are just very dedicated to their sports, and we want the best for our kids, and we just know that sports are an avenue for kids, keeps them out of trouble, it builds character, it helps them to learn how to work together with people, to work harder than they think that they could have worked, to exhaust all their abilities to get to one goal. It's sports overall is just a really great avenue for kids in general, whether they've gone through hard things or not. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a couple daughters who participate in various sports, and so no, I see it, and it, like I said, it's a huge, and I think a very beneficial thing to kids overall. So
yes.
well, so let's talk about the foundation. So you started it in 2018. I guess, do you have some examples of people that you've been able to help?
Yeah. So we've helped I think almost every sport, even archers, ice skaters, gymnasts, dancers, volleyball players, baseball players, softball players, football players, soccer players. So we've cheerleaders. I mean, so we have kind of helped a variety. Sometimes it's the parents who nominate their children, and sometimes it's a coach that nominates, or maybe it's a family friend that nominates, that knows that the family needs help. We've had some very, like, just recently, we've had a dancer whose mom was going through cancer treatment and then had a heart attack and died. And that little girl now has to go live with a completely different person. And it's just very important for their family that she stays in her dance where her support is. We've had a wrestler who had a murder-suicide situation, that the father killed mother and then killed himself. And then, we were of support to him when he went to college to wrestle. We have had situations where a parent ends up in the hospital for a couple of weeks up to a couple of months, and we just support. And, a lot of people think that people need support right now and only right now. And what we have found is that support usually needs, like, they need that support up until like a year and even 2 years past their traumatic event, because it's trying for, and especially if you don't have, I mean, you're a lawyer. So, I mean, yes, if they don't have a lawsuit coming and they don't have money coming, then it's going to affect you financially for a very long time. So it just is, that's just what we want to do. We just want to keep going, keep helping. We've had several different other, like, situations and things like that. We've had a baseball coach reach out, and, one of the parents of one of his players died, so we helped them. So our foundation is growing for sure. And
That's good.
Yeah.
How do people generally find out about you? Is it all word of mouth at this point?
Yeah, it has been word of mouth. We started with the racing community because we were just so big in the racing community, but we've kind of started trying to venture out to other communities as well. As, I mean, the sports communities that my children were in, yes, we do. But I post a lot of things on swap sites, discussion boards, things like that, where I just want people to kind of learn about us. We have Royals season tickets, so that we will offer tickets for a donation to the foundation. And then that way people learn about us because they have to go to our website and they have to go to, to read about us, and then they get to donate from there. So just a lot of that, but word of mouth is a big one because people, especially people who we've helped, are always very grateful, and then they share if they ever see anybody that needs some help like that. So.
And I would think, yes, once you're, you've done it for a number of years, obviously people in these various sporting communities would have an awareness of you.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I think I came across you from some swap shop type group.
Yeah, I was just, I will reach out and I will say, hey, this is what our foundation does. Reach out, go to their website, take a look. A lot of people don't know that help is out there. And if you're really needing to keep your kids in your sports, then, you have to have an avenue to go to. So we try our best to just try to reach out as much as possible. Sometimes people don't know about us. I will learn about a situation, whether it be like a car accident or a family who's, had cancer, and I will reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, I just saw from your profile that your kids are in sports, but you're going through a tough time. And this is what we can provide if you need help with paying for sports and things like that. So we're slowly but surely growing. This year, I actually thought maybe we'd grown too much because we came to a point to where we had already helped 8 athletes and we were already out of money.
Wow.
Thankfully, we did our big fundraising event in June. And then we got some money back into the bank, but now we're almost empty again. So,
well, here's the thing. I don't look at it as, I don't think you've grown too big. You just need more help.
It would be really nice.
Yeah.
But then again, there's so many things to give to and so much help that everybody needs. And it's just hard to know who to donate to and who not. I mean, I have the same struggles. So.
I was going to say, so how do you, obviously you talk about people nominating.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of vet, who you think really is in need?
Yeah, so you can usually tell immediately from their nomination because they're going to give you lots of detail. They're going to give you the child's name and then how old they are and what sport they play and then what's going on with their family and things like that. Usually it's somebody that I can verify with the sports, like any dance studio, cheerleading gym, gymnastics gym, baseball organization. I can usually just verify, and I will ask them if I can verify because usually they're coaches and they know what's going on with their kids. So I will usually just kind of say, hey, can I reach out to your organization, your studio, your gym, your whatever, talk to them, ask them where I could send a check, that type of thing. Checks always have to be sent to an organization, a gym, a team.
So you're basically paying the fees directly.
Correctly.
I
will not give anything individually for reasons that I learned very early on.
Yeah, and it's sad, but
it is.
Yep, you go.
Yeah. So we do. I mean, we don't ask a lot of questions because we don't want that burden on people's plates, but you can really tell. You can tell who's legit, who's not, especially if they're going to give you all the information. They will definitely, give you the coach, the owner, they will give that all to you. So.
And it probably helps too if the nomination starts with the coach or somebody, that knows the situation well.
Yep.
And that helps you then figure out, okay, is this a legit situation?
For sure.
Yeah. Well, no, that's awesome. And like I say, to me, I don't know, it can't be big enough. It's a matter of just getting the word out there so that you have help funding.
Yes.
So that you can help these people that find themselves in the need. And obviously, Northland Injury Law is happy, obviously, to be some part of the contributions towards that effort. And I know last summer, right, is that you had the volleyball?
Did have the volleyball tournament, and you guys helped with that as well.
Yeah, and that was a fundraiser event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, we had a volleyball. It was just a foundation tournament at the Sandbox, and that was really fun. It was really fun. We would like to do that kind of thing again and just kind of make it bigger. We're just thinking of other things like pickleball tournaments.
That's funny. I was literally going to say, you know what you should do is a pickleball tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Because everybody loves pickleball now.
Yes. It's, you can find like the Sandbox, they have somebody running those events, and they're very nice about giving you their facility to do those for. We have to kind of find the right time of year as well. It, we're working on it.
Yes. I understand. No, it's an organizational thing as much as anything.
It is. It's just like there's so many things to think about when you're running an organization and how you're going to go about certain things. And we've learned a lot since 2018. And like I said, we've gotten bigger. We've had more donations every year. So we're figuring it out.
Good. No, that's great. So if somebody wants to connect with the foundation, what is the best way for them to do that and find you?
Yeah, so you can go to finishstrongfoundation.com, and from there you can read all about us and what we do. And then there's a contact tab. There's also a nominations tab if you're wanting to nominate an athlete. I'm usually really good about it, goes straight to my email, so I can always see when somebody has tried to contact us. So that's our primary way. And then obviously on Facebook, we have a Facebook page called Finish Strong Foundation, in memory of Mike Tanner, who is my late husband. And that's good. And you can always message me through there as well. It's not the best way to find information though, just because the feed keeps going. So
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think it's awesome. You've turned a very obviously sad, tragic situation into something positive. And, to me, that's what life is about, because everybody that is still here, we have to keep moving on.
Gotta keep going.
Yep. And again, we got to figure out the ways to positively impact the world around us. And so, again, we're very happy to be a supporter. And anytime you need anything, please let us know.
We really appreciate it. I think this is your third big donation, and without your guys' donation, it's really hard to do what we do. So I appreciate you partnering with us for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Crystal, thanks again for joining us and getting the word out. And hopefully this is another effort to help spread the word.
I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.